Okay, we want to graph the line with slope 1 passing through the point 3, -5. So when we graph a line and we're given the slope, you want to write the slope as a fraction so that you can have rise over run. So we know that slope is equal to rise over run. Rise is the y and run is the x. So this slope is 1. You need to put a 1 under that. So this is the rise, this is the run. And then you want to rewrite this slope two ways. This is a positive 1. So I can write -1 over -1, and this is a positive 1 as well. Now, what's the difference? This means I go up. This one means I go right. This means I go down, and this means I go left. So I go to the point 3, -5. So this is 3, and that's -5. All right, and then I go up. Now, what you can do is plot the points with your pencil first, or just use this graphing line. So I'm gonna go up 1, and then I'm gonna go right 1, and then you can stop right there if you want to, and it'll graph it for you. Okay. All right. Next, we want to find the slope and y-intercept of a line given the equation. So we want let's graph another line by finding the slope and the y-intercept. Let's continue graphing. Graph a line by finding the slope and y-intercept. Let's see. No. Let's find the slope and the y-intercept. So let's find the slope. Okay, get rid of this. Okay, it says find the y-intercept and slope of the line. Well, in order for you to do this, you need to know what the equation of lines look like. So let me give you equations of lines. When we solve the equation for y, we get y equals mx plus b. This is what we call the slope-intercept form. Of the equation of a line. Now, why do we call it the slope-intercept form? Because notice, remember, m stands for the slope. So when I solve this for y, the number in front of x is going to be the slope, and this number over here is going to be the y-intercept. And that's going to help us to graph our lines faster. So based on this, y equals -5 x plus 4. If we do a matching, -5 in m, so the slope is -5, and then these match, the y-intercept is equal to 4. Okay, let's continue. It says find the slope and y-intercept of the line. Okay, now this is why we practice solving equations, because we knew we were going to have to do this. So this is, we know that the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So we need to solve this equation for y. All right, if you remember about solving equations, all right, so to solve an equation, we simplify. That means remove parentheses, remove fractions, add like terms on the same side. Then we isolate the variable we're solving for. And then we divide by the coefficient of the variable. We are solving for. Okay, so we simplify, isolate, divide. Simplify, isolate, and divide. But this time we have two variables. So we want to solve for y. Y is what we want to solve for. So since we want to solve for y, we want to isolate y and its coefficient. If you notice, this is on the same side as y, and we can't have that, so we need to undo that. So I add 8x to both sides. 4y equals 8x plus 12. Now, why did I put the x in front of that number? I put it in front because I want it to look just like this, mx plus b, 8x plus 12. The last step is to divide by the coefficient of what I'm solving for. I'm solving for y. Divide by 4. Y equals 2x plus 3. Y equals mx plus b. So m is 2. M stands for the slope, so the slope is 2. B is 3. B is the y-intercept, so the y-intercept is 3. Okay? So that's how you would find the slope and the y-intercept when it's in what we call the standard form, ax plus by equals c. You need to solve this for y. All right, so now we want to graph a line by finding the slope and the y-intercept. We've already found the slope and y-intercept before, but we didn't do any graphing. Here we go. All right, it says find the slope and the y-intercept, okay? And then graph the line. So negative 4x minus 2y equals 6. This is what I'm concerned about. So I need to isolate this for negative 4x. Let's add that to both sides. Negative 2y equals 4x plus 6. I want to put the x in front of the number, so it'll be in the form y equals mx plus b. Now I divide everything by negative 2. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. Positive divided by negative is a negative. Positive divided by negative is a negative. So y equals mx plus b. So my slope, so the slope is negative 2. The y-intercept is negative 3. Now, what are we going to do with this? We got to graph this line. So we need to change this slope, negative 2 over 1. Remember, we want to write the slope two ways, a negative over positive and a positive over negative. Now, why do you want to do that? So that you can get a balanced line. So the first thing you do is go to your y-intercept, which is 0, negative 3. Okay? And the reason this is in the way is because I had to move this graph up. So I find 0, negative 3, and that's right here. Okay? And then I'm going to use my slope. Now, if I use this slope, I have to go down, and then if I use this, I go up. So let's do it both ways. So I'm going to grab my line tool here. Bear with me. It doesn't like that. Let me remove some of this stuff. All right, now I can grab it. Okay. We found that the slope was, let me go back and put just a little bit up here. So y equals 2x minus 3. Okay. And nope, that is not correct. This needs to be plus let me do this over. Okay. Negative 4x minus 2y equals 6. Add 4x. Negative 2y equals 4x plus 6. Divide by negative 2. Y equals negative 2x minus 3. This is your slope. And you need to write the slope two ways. You have to write it as a fraction. Negative 2 over 1 and 2 over negative 1. Why? Negative 2 over 1 is negative 2. 2 over negative 1 is negative 2. The y-intercept is 0, -3. Now, let me say one thing. Tonight is different from the other nights that I recorded this because tonight I'm having to use ALEKS directly. And the reason I wanted to use ALEKS directly is so that I can show you how to use these tools. If I did not use ALEKS directly, I wouldn't be able to show you how to use these tools. And this is why it's so crowded. So I hope you understand that. Usually I'm using this tool here. If you remember, this is a smart notebook, but if I use a smart notebook, I can't use ALEKS to use these tools, okay? So I go to the y-intercept, which is 0, -3. So I get my tool here, and I go to 0, -3, which is right here. And I'm going to use -2/1. So I go down to 1, 2, and that's a +1. I go to the right one, and I put a point here, and it'll graph the line, you know. Let's make sure. Let's undo that. Let me do this. I'm gonna put these points here. So 0, -3 is here. 1, 2 to the right one, put a point here. 1, 2 to the right one, put a point there. Then I'm going to go back to this point. I'm going to use this slope right here. Go up 2 to the left 1. 1, 2 to the left 1. 1, 2 to the left 1. All right. Now I'm going to grab this. I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to come in like this. Voila. That's pretty. So I would use the pencil tool to plot these, because if you don't, ALEKS is going to mark it wrong, because I noticed that I was not going through the right points. So use the pencil tool to plot these, and then use the line tool to get the line straight. Okay. All right, let's continue. So this was graphing the line by finding the slope and the y-intercept. So now we've done a lot of graphing. We've graphed x and y intercepts. Now we want to write the equation of a line. So we want to write the equation of a line given the slope and the y-intercept. Okay. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line with slope and y-intercept. So to write the equation of a line, you need a point. Doesn't matter what point it is. You need the slope, and you need an equation generator. So let's talk about these, okay? I need some more space. So we need the point, you need the slope, and the slope needs to be given to you, or you must find. And then you need an equation generator. And the equation generator could be y equals mx plus b, which is the slope-intercept form. Or it could be the point-slope form. which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? Now, if you use the slope-intercept form, sometimes you have two steps to use. So I'm going to focus on the slope-intercept form, and then I'll show you the point-slope form. Okay? All right, so y equals mx plus b. The slope-intercept form works best when you're given the slope and the y-intercept. Works best when given slope and y-intercept. Okay? And we are. The slope is 6 and the y-intercept is -3, so we just plug in y equals, the slope is 6, m stands for slope, and the y-intercept is -3. So the slope-intercept form generator works best when you're given the slope and the y-intercept. Sometimes you're not given the y-intercept, and sometimes you're not given the slope, and you have to find this. So let's take a look at what happens. So to write the equation of a line, you need a point, slope, and equation generator. And we found that there are two equation generators, the slope-intercept form and the point-slope form. Okay? All right. Let's continue writing equations of lines. All right, this time we're going to be given a slope and a point. Given the slope and a point. Let me find it. Okay, write the equation. Given the slope I can't find that problem. It says write an equation of a line given the slope and a point. Oh, here it is right here. A line passes through the point 8, -1. It has a slope of -3/2. So we need a point and a slope. We got the point 8, -1. We need the slope -3/2. And we need to use an equation generator. Now, you can use the slope-intercept generator, or you can use the point slope. I will do both so that you can see how it works. Okay? So the point is 8, -1, and the slope is -3/2. Now, let's use this, the slope-intercept form. y equals mx plus b. We do not have, b stands for the y-intercept. This point is not the y-intercept. So what do? Well, we let this be, this is x and this is y. So where y is, I put -1. Where m is, I put -3/2. Where x is, I put 8, and then I solve for b. -1 equals -3/2 times 8/1 plus b. -1 equals -24/2 plus b. -1 equals -12 plus b. And let me finish this. -1 equals -12 plus b. Add 12 to both sides. 11 equals b. So the y-intercept is 11. So we have y equals mx plus b. Y equals the slope is -3/2 x, and the y-intercept is 11. Now notice that I had to do a second step there. I plugged everything in, and then I found b. All right, let's use the point slope formula, and then you can decide whether you can just use one thing all the time. Now, notice if I use this, the slope intercept form, I have to plug these in, find b, and then plug it back in. All right, let's use the point slope equation generator. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, these y1s and x1s is referring to the point, okay? So y minus, the y of my point is -1. M is -3/2. X minus x of my point is 8. Minus a minus gives me a plus. And then I need to use my distributive property. -3/2 times x is -3/2 x. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3/2 times 8/1. Y plus 1 equals -3/2 x plus 24/2. Y plus 1. Where did we see this before? Y plus 1 equals -3/2 x plus 12. And then we solve for y. If we solve this for y, so if we solve this for y plus 1 equals -3/2 x plus 12. Subtract 1, y equals -3/2 x plus 11, and that's what we said. So you can use either equation generator that you want. Oftentimes students that stick with the slope intercept form and use that, okay? All right, let's continue. Write the equation of a line given the y-intercept and another point. Okay. All right, so we need to write the equation of this line. If you recall, I said that to write the equation of a line, you need a point, you need a slope, it needs to be given to you, or you need to find it, okay? Now, in this case, we do not have the slope, okay? Now, we can find it, but we don't have it. So, need a point. We got plenty of points. We got this point here, 0, 4. We got this point, 4, 7. And then we need a point, we need the slope, and then the equation generator. And I'm going to stick with y equals mx plus b, okay? All right, I got plenty of points, but I need to find the slope. I can find the slope using the slope formula, or I can use geometry. Remember how we did this before? I'm at this point, and I need to go to this point. So 1, 2, 3, up 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4. Slope is rise over run. I went up 3, that's positive 3. I went to the right 4. So my slope is 3/4. And anytime you have the y-intercept, use it. There it is right there. So y equals mx plus b, we are finished. Y equals 3/4 x plus 4, because this is the y-intercept. Okay. All right, let's write the equation of a line through 2 points. Okay. All right, neither of these points are the y-intercept. It doesn't matter. All right, remember, to write the equation of a line, you need a point. So we need a point, need the slope, okay? Equation generator. We have plenty of points, but none of them are the y-intercept. So this point is negative 6, 1. And this point is 4, negative 5. Okay. Now we have got to find the slope this time. Let's call this point 1. This is point 2. If this is point 1, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. The slope is y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Y2, negative 5. Y1, 1. X2 is 4. X1 is negative 6. Now, this is a minus, and you got a negative number, put parenthesis. Negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. 4 plus 6, negative 6 over 10. So m is equal to negative 3/5. So we have the slope. We have plenty of points. And now we just need to use the equation generator to write the equation of the line. So the slope is -3/5, and we got plenty of points. It does not matter which point you use, and I will show you that, okay? All right, so my slope is -3/5, and this point is -6, 1. And I'm going to just use the slope intercept generator. Now, I can use either generator I want, the slope intercept or the point slope formula. I'm going to use this one, stick with one thing. Now, this is not, I don't have the y-intercept, which means I got an extra step in here. That's fine. All right, y, that comes from a point. So y is going to be 1. M, that's -3/5. X is -6. I do not have B. 1 equals -3/5 times -6 plus B. 1 equals 18/5 plus B. Now I need to solve for B, so I'm going to subtract 18/5 from both sides. Okay? And when I do that, I have 1 minus 18/5 equals B. So 1 minus 18/5 equals B. Let's change this 1 to fifths. 5/5 minus 18/5 equals B. 5 minus 18 is -13/5 is equal to B. So y equals mx. So let's see what we found, that the slope was -3/5. And now the y-intercept is -13/5. All right, I'm going to use the other point so that you can see it does not matter. All right, I used -6, 1. Now I'm going to use 4, -5, okay? So the point 4, -5, and m equals -3/5. All right, y equals mx plus b. Y is -5, m is -3/5, x is 4, and we don't know b. -5, put a 1 here, is -12/5 plus b. Okay, I'm going to add 12/5 to both sides. -5 plus 12/5 equals b. Now, if I put a 1 here, I need to change -5/1 to fifths. Let me show that here. If I change this to fifths, 1 to go into 5, 5 times 5 is 25. So that's -25/5 plus 12/5 equals b. -13/5 equals b. And so we have y equals -3/5 x minus 13/5, which is what we got the last time. Okay, so it doesn't matter which point you use. All right, let's continue. I'm getting close. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is the final problem. Writing the equation of horizontal and vertical lines. Okay. Now, the equation of a vertical line through a point is x equals the x coordinate of the point. So this point, this is x, this is y. All right, so x equals -6 is the vertical line. The equation of the horizontal line is y equals the y coordinates of the point. So this is y. So this is y equals 8. Okay. All right. I certainly appreciate all of this. This has been a long lesson here, but I am finished, and let me know what you think.